Good morning. I'm Javanka McGee, co-host of Vision Pros Live. Thank you so much for being on with me today. Please do me a favor and share with me your first, last name, where you're located, and the name of your business.
Yeah, well, so nice to be here. I'm Steve Perry. I am the founder and CEO of the Well Recruiting Solutions. Our team is all over the U.S., actually all over the world, but I live in the frigid, cold north of Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Oh, okay. Bridget and cold. What's the weather like?
Today it's actually nice. Last week it was like 30 below. This week it's 50. So that's a big swing in
Oh, wow.
7 days.
You said 30 below,
30
right?
below zero to 50.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay, I'll take the 50
yeah,
all day. I'm in
right.
San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, yeah,
And
great.
we've had many seasons in the last 2 weeks. Many.
Yeah.
Do me a favor and tell me more about the Well Recruiting Solutions, please, and thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are a executive search, permanent placement, direct hire recruiting firm. Founded about just over a year ago. There are 39 people on our team, and we serve about 80% of our clients are in the financial services, specifically wealth management space, and then we have some clients in construction and healthcare.
Okay. And you said it's about a year ago? You founded this about a year ago?
Yep, just right at the turn of 2024, and so yeah.
No way. I want to know the story of
Yeah.
what happened. Tell me.
Yeah, so I spent 17 years at New York Life Insurance Company. I started as an agent when I was 20 years old. I spent about 5 years in that role, building my own book of business, working with clients, doing their investments, insurance, retirement planning. And then I moved into a leadership capacity within the firm up in Alaska and started building my own team. So over about a 5-year time frame, built a team to about 40 advisors. I was the youngest partner, senior partner in the company, and then moved to Texas, West Texas, moved to Lubbock, Texas to be the managing partner of the offices there. When we wanted to go to civilization, we would go to Dallas or San Antonio or Austin. So we would visit you down there. I was like, we loved going to San Antonio, but I did that for 2.5 years, grew our firm from 40 advisors to close to 100 in 2.5 years. We had a great time there, and then was asked to move up to Minnesota and run the offices there for about 5 years. And 17 years into my career, I looked up and I'm like, Jamalka, I am not the business owner I started out to be. I am a very, very high paid corporate executive doing whatever the home office wants us to. And so I knew God had gifted me with the abilities to run my own company. And, honestly, it was going to be very comfortable. If I just sat in that role and moved up, I was going to make $30-40 million over the rest of my career, and more than I'd ever imagined that I would have made. But it wasn't about that. It was about living to the potential that God gave me. And so I had to step out from a comfortable umbrella and start my own thing. And so that's when the Well Recruiting Solutions was born, turn of 2023 into 2024.
Wow. Yay. I liked it. I'm sorry. I got really excited.
Yeah.
That's amazing. After what you said and the audience hearing the amount you would have made over the life of your career, some people would have just accepted that. So with that being said, after 17 years and saying, hey, this could be comfortable, this could be really, really, really good. Why? What was that turning point other than, I know you're saying that God had a vision and a journey for you.
Yeah.
What was the turning point? Like, were you sitting in the office and was like, this ain't it?
Yeah, great question. So I was sitting at, the annual partners meeting, right? All the leaders of the company, the heads of the company are up on stage and they're sharing, all right, here's the vision for, this next year. And I realized that every year it was going to be something that they wanted us to push to our organization. And I had very little autonomy over that. And it just hit me. It's like a few years prior, I had come up with kind of a life mission. And, it's who I am and what I feel like my calling is. And it's that I'm a bold, encouraging, and generous follower of Jesus Christ who will help fund billions to grow God's kingdom by leading others to live radically generous lives. And with that, I knew that was not going to be doable in that current environment. And so I had to make a change. And so my wife was sitting right next to me and she felt, the same thing, hearing the same words from stage. And we knew at that moment that, that was the last meeting we were going to be at with all these people that we'd grown up with 17 years and family, friends, like we were going to be leaving to do something else.
Well, what's amazing is to hear that you're a believer and that you wanted to follow. I say it all the time, delayed obedience is no different from disobedience.
Yeah.
Well,
100%. Yep.
so if you don't go now when you heard it,
Yeah.
you might have a different kind of journey. So I am, for what it's worth, Steve, I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank
I'm
you.
excited for you.
Thank you.
And with all of this and now, just building this business, and you said you're at 30 plus individuals all around the world. Tell me about your vision.
Yeah, so our goal this year is to do 12 million in revenue. Again, candidly, that we feel like that was a divine word from God. Our second full year in business, my partner and I both went away separately and came back with the same number. So that's our vision this year. But our vision by 2030 is to be the trusted source for 100,000 placements for companies all across the United States. So, that means a lot of things. Ultimately, we're in the business of helping people who need talent in their organization to reach their vision.
Yeah.
And connecting them with people who are not able to get to their vision for their life in their current position. They have to make a move. And so it's beautiful to be able to do that and to quantify it with helping 100,000 people do that. Obviously, there's revenue attached to that. And personally, for me and my business partner, it's about driving as much revenue that we can in America, where we have an amazing opportunity that no one else has in the world to build businesses, but then share that wealth with people all across the world. Like I've had it all. Like I've lived in the lake houses and had all the fancy cars. Like we gave all that up, and I don't need to do that. My goal is to be able to share with people across the world the resources that have been entrusted to us. And if we place 100,000 people, we'll be able to distribute a lot of resources to other people around the world who need it a lot more than we do.
That's amazing. And how does one get in contact with you?
Yeah, so our website is thewell.solutions.com. I'm very active on LinkedIn, Steve Perry, The Well Recruiting Solutions. If you follow me on there, you'll get to see all kinds of fun stuff with our family and our company and just the musings that I have. And then we have a landing page called hirethewell.com. And on that page, we've got a free download of the top 10 creative, fun, never heard of before interview questions to ask to make sure you're getting the right person every single time. So go to hirethewell.com and get that free download, and then we'll obviously be able to touch base with you.
So a person such as myself that's looking to go into a corporate business or as an individual, right? So you deal with the major companies, right? And then the major companies contact you, and then you pair someone up like myself to be placed at one of those companies.
Yeah, great question. So most of our clients are actually small business, right? Between 20 and a couple hundred employees. We have some, enterprise, publicly traded companies as well, but a lot of ours are small businesses that, have incredible cultures. You're getting to work day in and day out with the founder. And so they come to us. They don't have a whole HR recruiting department. We act as that for them. So they share, here's our strategy, here's where we're trying to go. And then, we think we need this kind of person, and we can help coach them on that. What kind of people do you need? How much you have to pay them? How quickly can we find them? And then we do all that work for them. We have dozens and dozens of conversations with potential candidates, and then we give the top 2, 3, 4 people to our clients to make the best decision for them. And then, as you're saying, the flip side of that is we certainly have people that reach out from time to time, say, hey, I'm looking for something new. And so we know of things that are out there, and we can try to help them too.
I'm thinking of a way to say it as I'm looking in the air. With the employment shortage, or they say, it's not a lot of jobs out there, et cetera, because this is your profession and your expertise, is that, to your knowledge, is that something that you are hearing people say or experience that?
I'm hearing a lot of, what I hear the most of is candidates saying, gosh, I go to apply for these positions, I interview, and then I hear nothing.
Cool.
And honestly, that is a big reason why firms like us exist now. It used to be that firms like us existed because companies couldn't find the candidates. Now, with LinkedIn and everything digital, it's super easy to find the candidates. And I would say my perspective is there's an equilibrium. There's just as many opportunities out there as there are candidates. Now, there's a lot more candidates that are currently working but want to do something different that would, unbalance that. But here's the issue is that technology has made it so easy for people to apply. So a company posts a job and they get hundreds of applicants because it's just a press of a button. And now there's AI software that'll even make it look custom that match like the actual job description. And so people aren't going to hear like it's impossible to stand out from the noise because that hiring manager, the HR department, doesn't have the capacity to go through hundreds of applications with any meaningful lens. And so, yeah, great candidates are getting missed every single time from that. And so that's where, a team like us, where we've got a large team that can have individual conversations with all of those candidates to go through, can allow more of the top candidates to rise up.
I love that. So you're like the human resume that will allow them to stand out,
Totally.
because you don't get that opportunity to say what you can do. And if some people are using AI to create their own resumes, where on the end of the company, they're using AI. And so it's like, you know what? There's no point in this. So I love that. I have very random questions, Steve.
Yeah.
How did you come up with the name?
Yeah. So knowing that this, like I looked at this, I'm like, someday we're going to be publicly traded or bought for a big number. Like I want to have a meaningful name that ultimately points to my mission. Now, and so honestly, through prayer, but the vision, or I guess the messaging behind it, it certainly has some biblical references. But I look at, we started in the financial services industry. I got into that career. I grew up in a very middle, maybe a little bit under middle class household. Very privileged. My mom my mom stayed at home. Dad worked. Me and my sister. But my parents had credit card debt into their 50s, kind of thing. Me getting into the financial services industry allowed me to create a lifestyle for my future grandkids that they'll get like opportunities I never had because of that. I did the hard work of digging a well to provide lifelong, life-sustaining water for my kids and my grandkids. In the same way, we help people get into the financial services industry where they can do that, right? So that's one of the imageries. The other imagery is that a company cannot thrive if they, just like a farm can't thrive if it doesn't have irrigation, or a community can't thrive if it doesn't have water, right? A company cannot thrive if it doesn't have a sustaining source of talent for the organization. And it's hard to do that. And so we are that well. We've done the hard work, built out the systems, built the team, built the knowledge and the experience. We dug that deep well that has fresh talent available for our clients almost on demand. And so that's the imagery of the well. Now, the third component of that is this company is a well of financial resources for people in need, people doing great work all across the world where they're not able to get that, but we're a company that we hold our funds loosely, and generosity is one of our core values, and we can provide that out.
I asked that question because I knew it was deeper than what, when you say it all together,
Yep.
it's a business.
Yep.
But when I pulled the well out, I was like, there's something to this, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
and as you're giving me the imagery, I'm cheesing because I'm like, if I may say, it's man above. I can feel that there's something so much more. And with you digging the well and you creating generational wealth, why would you not want to do that for those who utilize your services? And, as you mentioned before, that you have a goal, there's a goal, and it's a financial goal, and it's how many people you desire to help. But at the end of the day, it's a well, and a well will be used over and over and over again. It could be filled, it could be overflown, but it has a use and will always have a purpose.
Yeah.
So I love that. I totally love that. I have a favorite question.
Yeah.
If you have not looked at any of my other ones, and I'm looking for it because I love to put it up there because a lot of people are like, what in the world? You know what? I can't really find it, but I'm going to ask you anyway. What are the greatest joys of what you do?
I would say right now it is just super cool when I get that email from our team that says, "Hey, we just got an offer letter and it was accepted by a candidate that we dug and dug and dug to find. Our client is super excited about this candidate. This candidate cannot wait to get started." I mean, it sounds simple, but that's a culmination of a ton of work, and it's just super fun.
So we just heard the ending result, and I love that for you because at the end of the day, it's a happy medium for the company as well as for the client as well as for you. Steve, I thank you so much for choosing to be with me today and sharing with me your vision and your story. I appreciate that so much. If there is nothing else, because I know I'm a little bit over your time, I want you to have an amazing day.
Thank you so much. It was an honor being on the show with you.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. And I look forward to speaking with you very soon.
Oh yes, thank you, Jonka.
You're welcome.